What is going on, CHWA Nation? This is ring announcer Dilly here, and we're going to do a little podcast to fill you guys in on what you might have missed at our pay-per-view show that came out today, because we're going to record this a little early, so it's going to be, it's today. It came out a couple hours ago, 4 hours ago to be exact, but whatever. But yeah, we're going to be going over the show, how things went, how things shook down. And kind of maybe see where things go for the month of April, because we got a lot of things that are in the works, and few people that seem to be just can't seem to get over each other in the just arguing and bickering. But yeah, so we're gonna do a little house cleaning. Make sure you subscribe to our Patreon. It's patreon.com/CHWA. And subscribe to the For Life tier. That is where you're going to get the pay-per-views. And, just as a heads up, and that's part of this, if you have not seen the pay-per-view and you are not subscribed to the Patreon, you need to click off this video or this audio file and go watch the show and come back, because I'm giving you your warning now. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. We are going to be talking about the show that came out today. So, again, spoilers. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cool. If you're here, you don't care about spoilers, or you've seen the show. So, let's see here. First things on the business is, I'm not alone. I am. I'm here with, and I hate saying this, but we needed somebody who can give their side of opinions, and hopefully they do it fairly. So, ladies and gentlemen, non-binary people, I cannot do the Thomas Sanders bit. Anyway, we are here with Angelo Grimsley, the leader of the new foundation. Say hello, Angelo.
Hello, and thank you for addressing me halfway decently.
I mean, I got you. I got you fairly deep. I acknowledge that you are the leader of the new foundation.
Yeah, I'm thankful for that, at least. Some people like to say I'm not. But I'm halfway thankful of being on here. I love giving my own opinions, as you know.
I do, in fact, know that you love giving your own opinions on just about everything.
Of course, why wouldn't I? People love hearing me talk.
That is... We'll let the fans decide that one.
Of course.
So let's go ahead and let's talk about our show there, Angelo. So the first thing that most of you will not see on Patreon or on any of our TV shows here on YouTube, or if you're listening to this on Spotify or any other streaming services, we had a pre-show. Those are not recorded, and they are only to the show. So if you ever want to see any of these pre-show matches, you're gonna have to come out to the building. 127 West MacArthur Drive, Cottage Hills, Illinois, 62018. That is where you're going to have to come see these shows, or these pre-show matches. We had a pre-show match between Aleister Crowe, the Voodoo King, and Kenneth Collins. Honestly, it was a very hard-fought match between these three. And at the end of it, Kenneth Collins got the win over Voodoo King and Aleister Crowe. Angelo, any thoughts and opinions on this particular match with these three?
Honestly, my only opinion on it is, I really don't like Aleister Crowe. Me and him have a very rocky history together.
Yeah.
But I'm glad he didn't come out on top. And the Voodoo King, he's a returning figure. He seemed to have really tried. And I'm going to give him props for that. Because a man of his size taking on these two former challengers of Damian Blackwell, that's impressive. He gave it his all, but Kenneth pulled it out.
That is true. Aleister Crowe and Kenneth Collins both took on Damian Blackwell for the heavyweight championship. Most recently, it was Aleister Crowe, if I'm not mistaken, who was had a long-standing run against Damian Blackwell and just could not capitalize on it. Did everything that he could to try and capitalize and still failed.
Which I'm not gonna say I'm surprised about the fact of his failure, but to each their own.
That is very fair, Angelo. So now that that's the pre-show, those matches are just kind of to entertain you guys, which there might be stuff in there every once in a while, but that's mostly where we want to for pay-per-views especially is like, hey, you want a little action while you're coming into the doors, getting your popcorn, getting your soda, getting your merch. That's where these matches are. And there's nothing against these guys. That's just luck of the draw that week. That's what management wanted them to do. Um, okay, so let us move on to the very first match of the night. Very first match of the night. Your own guys came out, Angelo. Sid and Dean came out and started running their little mouths, thinking that they were going to take on Jeremy Lightfoot, and think they were going to stand on chance because the GM / our women's champion, Vicious Victoria, basically said, you're going to face, the Sid Manson and Dean Roberts, you're going to face Jeremy Lightfoot in a 2-on-1 match. And they come out and they start talking, and they think they've got the night off easy with Jeremy Lightfoot, which I'm not going to lie, big underestimating Jeremy Lightfoot. That's a problem for your guys.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you here. Yes, I understand that that these two of my men, they've beat Jake Prater and Jeremy Lightfoot, the Warriors, in tag team action once before. However, you never want to underestimate a veteran like Jeremy. And yes, I was out there during their little segment, their talk. And yes, while I was not fully on board, I believe that they could.
Yeah. No, I think anyone has a chance to beat, especially with that kind of situation, a 2-on-1. That's, even for a veteran like Jeremy Lightfoot, that's tough. 2-on-1, you're going a straight numbers game, and that's tough for anybody to handle it. But the crazy thing about it is that's not what happened. Godfather, the owner of CHWA, stepped up and said, "You know what? I don't want this to happen," and in fact said, "I'm going to overstep Victoria." And there's a tag team that wasn't booked for that night, which is astonishing to me that any of our guys were not booked for this show. But Godfather came out and said, "No, I got a tag team that it's not booked, and honestly, they're ready to kick some ass." And out comes Dragon's Guild, Chris Exodus and L Ride, to face your guys from the New Foundation. Tell me, what were you thinking whenever Dragon's Guild came out?
Ring announcer Dilly, I'm gonna be very transparent with you as a man that's went to war with each of them more times than once. Sadly, I've never went to war with Chris Exodus a number of times because of his little incident. But
a little incident.
I know how they think. They were excitable, they were on fire, and I'm sorry to Sid Manson and Dean Roberts, but if the Mizoku and I couldn't beat them, I'm sorry. It's hard to think that they could.
That is very true, especially from two wily up-and-comers, greenhorns, if you would say, because Sid and Dean, they made their debut back in January. They've only got about 2-3 months of of experience. I would say. Um, I'm sure they did they had their up and comings, but with CHWA there seems to be this mystical bubble that kind of affects our Metro East area of St. Louis, where we have our own little cocktail going on to where it doesn't really matter your wrestling experience before. Once you come into CHWA, you're basically brand new. And that takes some, especially from a tag team like Dragons Guild that has been around for years in this company. That's that's a tough draw.
Godfather knew what he was doing. I'll definitely say that.
Yeah, might have pulled a little bit out of his own bag there with his two sons. But I'll give your guys credit. Dean didn't seem to want any part of it, and Sid seemed to be a little too happy to be facing Dragon's Guild. I'm not. I'd keep an eye on that one if I was you, Angelo. But I'll give him credit. They at first didn't seem too enthusiastic about it, but then they're like, you know what? We're gonna take on Dragon's Guild, and I'll give them credit. They sure did try their hardest.
Give credit where credit's due because they certainly had them at points. However, experience and longevity as a team certainly triumphs over talent. Because talent only takes you so far.
Yes, exactly. And I'll say, since I know you were out there, and I saw you a couple times, because for those who don't know, ring announcer Dilly is also cameraman Dilly, and so cameraman Dilly sees a few things, and I definitely noticed you helping out your boys whenever they needed it the most, which is very smart of you, but also very dumb.
Can you explain to me how it's dumb?
How you gotta think that you keep messing and poking the bear, especially the one man zoo, Mr. Elride. He's got a lot of things. It's like you keep poking that bear, or in this case the dragon. Eventually something's got to give to where they get tired of them being messed with while they're trying to get the W.
Well, ring announcer Dilly, cameraman Dilly, music man Dilly, whatever you want to be called in this situation. Until you show me proof that I did anything, I plead the fifth.
You know what? Spoken like a true wordsmith, because that is fair. It's all in the evidence, but I suspect that our audience will see everything.
Of course.
But at the end of the day, it was in fact Dragon's Guild that got the win on that match. So hard fought battle between New Foundation and Dragon's Guild, but at the end of the day, Dragon's Guild got the win on that one.
Of course, and I think Dragon's Guild had a fight for it. Will I say it's a war? No, I will not. But I congratulate them on the win, because, truth be told, they have a track record against the New Foundation, and the track record's pretty good. Cannot deny that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is very factual. You guys have definitely had quite a few run-ins, basically since April or May of last year.
Yes.
But let's move on to our second match of the night. Second match of the night, was Radical Rick versus Chaos Jester for the Golden Opportunity briefcase. Now, that match was very interesting because all month Rick has played games with Chaos Jester, and honestly, while this man is very whimsical and uh very unpredictable, I would say, you don't want to mess with a man like that because he just seems unstable, and especially whenever you start messing with his kid. So, what do you think about that in that entire match? Like, it, does it really even pique your interest with those two?
Radical Rick and I have had this small agreement for a while because I have helped him out and he has helped me out in certain situations. I can't say it's been great, but it has. However, when it comes to Chaos Chester, he's a man that I absolutely despise. And one, how he has a kid, I can't figure out how. Any woman that would lay with a man with that face paint disturbs me. Now, the match, I think it went well. Does Rick deserve to get his ass beat? Yeah. I may be a psychopath, but I promise you I would never lay a hand on another man's kid.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Radical Rick was not smart in the slightest about making that move. I don't he he just doesn't seem to have the right judgment of how to go about things. First he messes with his former partner's wife, and then now he's trying to fight a kid. Just no. Bad 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 calls all around, Radical Rick. But you know, well, the match, I agree with you, was fine. It was a good match. I think Chaos had the upper hand through most of it. Um, with Rick getting some shots in here and there, but um, honestly, what came to the biggest shock of them all was how that match ended. The match ended in probably one of the smartest plays Rick has come up with. Would you agree to that?
I would. If his IQ was a little bit higher, it would have actually worked out.
Exactly. And to kind of cover our bases with this, and you can see it all on patreon.com/CHWA. At the end of the match, Radical Rick lays out Chaos, I think. Yeah, lay get lays him out. I think with his was it the
with his finisher,
with his
of
finisher?
his
Yeah, it's I think it's his main finisher. I think it's is it the F5? I can't remember exactly what he calls it. But
see, and this is how I know you aren't very knowledgeable in wrestling, despite being an announcer, Mr. Dillyman. That was the go to sleep.
That was the go to sleep. This is something that ring announcer Dilly does not claim to know is wrestling moves. I was not versed enough in them. But, the point being is Rick hits him with his go to sleep and then gets down out of the ring and doesn't go for the pin. But at the same time, prior to that, the ref got knocked out. And so even though Radical Rick hits Chaos with his finisher, or at least one of them, the ref has no idea what is going on. And so Rick gets out of the ring and climbs to under the apron and grabs a steel chair from under the ring, comes back up and kind of laughs in Chaos's face and hits the chair on the ring and then immediately throws the chair in Chaos's face. Right as Chaos is kind of looking perplexed at what Rick is doing, the ref starts to, come to and turns around and sees Chaos holding this chair and Rick laying on the ground, claiming that Chaos hit him in the head.
You see, Dilly, this was made famous by the late, great Eddie Guerrero. He was one of the best. But what Radical Rick doesn't understand is that he's no Eddie Guerrero.
That is very true, because even though this was probably one of the more smarter ideas on paper that Rick had, it was also the biggest mistake he could have done. Because the thing that I don't think Radical Rick quite understood was the golden opportunity briefcase is considered a belt when wrestling for it. And so even though the ref threw out the match and disqualified Chaos Jester and giving Radical Rick the win, that did not give him the golden opportunity briefcase. And because of that, Chaos Jester retained the briefcase to hold on to later when he so chooses to use it.
I'm honestly just speechless at this act. Because if there's any single person that should know about the rules of titles or achievements and such, it would be a man like Radical Rick that has been with this company for years. But why not talk about what happened afterwards? Chaos uses that same chair to just assault the poor man. Do you really think Radical Rick deserved that?
I mean, I personally think he deserved it for messing with someone's kid, but I don't know. That just seemed like a cheap shot from Chaos, and I'll admit that to you.
I'll accept that one, because while I do not think it was 100%, what should I use? Right? Morally correct? I bet it felt good.
Yeah, I would be willing to bet that felt amazing. And you know what's crazy? It didn't end after that. Rick came out of the ring yelling and screaming that he won that briefcase. He won. He deserves that briefcase. And Chaos told him, no, what you won and what you are getting is another ass whooping. And he proceeded to continue to beat him up outside of the ring well after the match.
As a man that's taken Chaos's ass whoopings, you want to know what? I wouldn't want to take another one.
Oh, and we got to see a throwback. I forgot. During that ass kicking, Little Chaos comes out, and Chaos picks up Rick for the Chaos Theory, and almost in homage to an old school move from the early years of CHWA, when Chaos Jester and Chris Exodus used to tag together. Little Chaos comes up and hits Radical Rick in the head with his mallet right before Chaos hits his Chaos Theory.
I congratulate the both of them, because truthfully, I'm sure there's no other person in this entire roster that can get a louder crowd reaction than that kid.
Yeah, that is true. That as whimsical and as sometimes fun as Chaos Jester can be, I don't think he can outdo his own son.
Neither do I.
Let's move on. So we have our very first match of the night that involves one of the four big belts. Our tag team straps.
Oh, is
Our
it finally the tag match? Or the
yes,
tag champion match?
yes, the tag champion match. Our third match of the night was for the CHWA Tag Team Champions, and it was the Bayou Boys versus Bulletproof. Now, Angelo, I don't quite remember because early on last year, Bulletproof broke up in a surprising fashion where Isaiah the Enforcer seemed to split off from Sean Justice. So I don't quite remember. Did you get a chance to face Bulletproof while you were wrestling back then?
Sadly, no, I did not. And while the competitor side of me would love to step in the ring with them, I will at least admit that the only person that I've gotten. No, that's false. I've gotten to wrestle Sean Justice. I've not gotten to wrestle Isaiah the Enforcer.
Mm. Okay.
But now that they're back together, at least for this, they seem to have picked a fight with the tag team champions. Now, as a person that's been in the ring with Bo Dickerson, I know that these two men are not to be messed with.
No.
And while I do not like either of these two of the Bayou Boys or either member of Bulletproof, I understand that this is tag team wrestling almost at its finest. This is for CHWA's penultimate tag team pinnacle.
Yes.
And while Bulletproof is what, the 9-time CHWA or tag team champions?
I believe so.
Somewhere around there. And I'm in the ballpark.
They have quite a long reign with as tag team champions and multiple runs with it.
So you would think that the Bayou Boys, regardless of having Cousin Waylon, would still be the underdogs in this situation.
Yes, because that's something that a lot of people don't give credit for. Is Cousin Waylon is a big boy, but Isaiah the Enforcer is no small French fry. He is just as monstrous and just as strong as Cousin Waylon is at times, if not equal.
And I'm going to be frank with you. That spear of his can cut you in half.
That their spears are deadly. Bulletproof. I know that their finish, or at least one of them, is a double spear from Isaiah and Sean at the exact same time, and that it's something that whenever you watch it, it's magical, but taking it, I can't imagine what that feels like, getting hit by both of those guys.
Thankfully, I've never gotten the displeasure of taking it.
That is very lucky on your half. But these two teams seemed very the match quality was very good from what I remember. Bo and Waylon did pretty good job at keeping Sean and Isaiah fairly separated for the most part, as well as I know Bulletproof got in some moments where they kept Bo away from Waylon, because that's the smart play is once Bo gets in, keep the small man in that ring.
Of course. Bulletproof obviously is a very seasoned tag team, so they know what they're doing, but sadly, no matter how hard they try, when you're the tag team champions, it's almost like you have a stat boost, if you were to say in video game terms. Dilly, I have a funny feeling you would know more about video games than me.
I probably would in certain aspects, yes. But no, I completely agree. And the Bayou Boys are, as much as they've came out and run their mouths, and I'm not particularly fond of them, I have to give them credit considering who they beat to become the tag team champions. Dragon's Guild, that's no small feat for any tag team. And so the fact that the Bulletproof has to go against a tag team that managed that's some tough odds that they had to go across.
Of course. And especially when you have Bulletproof who's beaten Dragon's Guild before, it's entertaining to think of just to simply think that they could potentially topple the tag team champions again, become tag team champions again.
Mm-hmm.
However, to fast forward to the thought, they just couldn't get the job done. Maybe they don't have that killer instinct anymore.
They did seem like this was just not a good night at the office for them. Bayou Boys took full advantage of it too, and they managed to get the W, retaining the tag team titles. Be honest with me, Angelo. Do you think we're going to see this again in April? Do you think we're going to see another Bayou versus Bulletproof match?
Honestly, I would like to. They put on just enough of a war that even me, as a person who does not like any of these four men, I want to see it again. Because I think Bulletproof has what it takes to win. But I second guess it.
Yeah. I think they have what it takes to win as well, but I just don't know. The Bayou Boys seem to be resilient and very tough. Maybe it's that Bayou Louisiana toughness that comes with it of living in a swamp.
Definitely could be, but regardless of how big Isaiah the Enforcer is, I really wouldn't want to piss off Cousin Waylon.
No, that we can agree on. I don't want no part of making that guy any bit of angry towards me. Especially, don't mess with that little pet alligator of his, Allie. Don't mess with Allie.
Don't get me started on that.
But I think those guys they put on a hell of a match, and I think we should move on to our next match, which is another one of the big four. We had a women's match for the women's division championship. The GM Vicious Victoria came out and issued an open challenge, but banned Margaret from coming out and answering the call, because it seems like Margaret has been very interested in Vicious Victoria.
Honestly, Dilly, that doesn't surprise me. When you're as big as Margaret, and when you have dismantled the former women's champion, Ashlyn Alexander, in such a short amount of time, why wouldn't you be interested in that championship again?
That's very true. Margaret did kind of topple a crazy run that Ashlyn Alexander had, and became the women's champ, and basically got screwed out of the women's champ, basically being the women's champ, I think by Vicky. Obviously she lost it to Riley, and then Riley lost it to Victoria, but nonetheless, Victoria comes out and issues an open challenge and bans Margaret from answering the call. And the wrestler who did answer the call was a returning Sophia Sombra. Sophia Sombra answers the call to Vicious Victoria, and they have a match that we haven't seen in a minute. This is something that Angelo, I know you're a year into CHWA, because we're going on our year anniversary. But Vicious Victoria and Sophia Sombra are old CHWA veterans at this point. They may be fairly new to this generation's camera, but Vicious Victoria has been at CHWA before.
And I'm glad. I'm glad that they've both returned, not because Vicious Victoria actually helps me. Oh, well, I can't say she helps me, more like she comes to me and I help her. However, to see Sofia Sombra back in a CHWA ring, I'm surprised. I really am. And not because she caters to these crappy, unappreciative fans that only want to cheer for the heroes, or the villains that pretend to be heroes, I should say. No. I'm surprised to see her back simply because when she disappeared, I never thought I would see her back in this ring. Now that she is, though, I cannot wait to see what she can do. Because I know I may not be the most likable guy, but I can still point out talent. It's not hard. I did it with Sid and Dean, and I'm going to do it here with Sofia. She's talented.
She is. She's talented, and she's got that Latina fire that drove her through this match to, let's just go ahead and say it. She beat Vicious Victoria. Sofia Sombra is your CHWA Women's Division champion. She walked away with the W.
It took her all of 5 minutes. That wasn't 5 minutes. You know how long the match was, Dilly. But for the sake of this, it took all of 5 minutes for her to do what Ashlyn Alexander and Maddie Exodus couldn't.
You are not wrong. And you're actually right. It was roughly 5 minutes. 5 minutes for Sofia. Actually, I think it was under 5 minutes for Sofia to get the win over Victoria.
Now, I will say, I am not downplaying Maddie or Ashlyn, because I do understand that Vicious Victoria had tricks up her sleeve to help her win. But Sofia Sombra just seemed to be on another level.
Yes. I think that's something that maybe some wrestlers seem to misjudge, is, regardless of whether you come out and the crowd cheers your name or you come out and they boo you out of the building, there's something about when a wrestler comes through that curtain for the first time after a long time that just gives you an edge of like, yeah, I can still do this. And it seemed to work in Sofia's favor for this match.
Of course. And you want to know what? Again, I said this to Jeremy Lightfoot weeks ago. I'll say it again for Sofia. Give credit where credit is due. She definitely may not have earned the title shot, but it was an open challenge. So she took her opportunity and ran with it.
This is very true. This was not, an earn in the sense of, she didn't win the number one contenders match. She didn't win a qualifier. She just came in and answered an open challenge and happened to walk away with a belt. That is
impressive.
It is. And to think that I can't imagine what's going to come next month with this. With Sofia winning this belt, that
I'm sure there will be there will be aftershock of this. There will be downfall. But Sofia, I hope you're ready.
It's very true. Hopefully she is ready. All right, let's go to our next match, which honestly, I did not want to be a part of. Not because of who is wrestling, but because this is this was one of the saddest matches of the night, and not in a bad way. We're now on to the PT Beckham versus Tommy Davis match for the best in the Midwest, and it was, I'm sorry, unfortunately, Tommy Davis's last match in CHWA. Tommy Davis decided to not sign his contract that came due, and is moving on to bigger and better things. So, me as his family, because I have made that very known. Tommy Davis is my actual family, and I didn't want to see this last match, even though I loved watching him wrestle, because I knew what was coming at the end of it.
There's not a lot of words that I can put into this. PT Beckham is a man that I do not like. And it's not because he left CHWA, left my home that I so desperately hate. It's not because he did everything that I couldn't. No, I could do everything that he can. But Tommy Davis is a man that I personally do not like. Dilly, you know this.
That's true. You do not like Tommy Davis.
I have been to war with this man. He has dropped me on my neck more times than I can count. He has tried to break my arm just like I have tried to break his ankle and his fingers. But no matter what, I can truthfully say this is a man that I can put so much respect in. And I can definitely say CHWA will not be the same without him.
They really will not. I made the announcement as, the match ended, that Tommy Davis had a outstanding, glorious year's run. Because this has been a full year, at the end of April, at From the Ashes, our next pay-per-view super show, whatever it's going to be called.
Of course. And Tommy Davis and I both debuted on that show.
Yes, Tommy Davis debuted on that show, and so did you. And you both have gotten insanely more renown in this company and as the year has gone. But this match between PT Beckham and Tommy Davis, one for the books.
Of course. I would almost go as far as say as this could potentially be a match of the year candidate.
I 100% agree. Since I've been filming this year, there've been a couple matches in my eyes that I've been keeping mental notes that I do not doubt will be on our top matches, moments of the years list at the end of this year. This was a crazy match, and I gotta agree with you on this. There's something about PT Beckham that whenever that man comes out of that curtain, you just immediately want to hit him.
And this is coming from a man that would generally side with somebody like PT Beckham. He really, just the way he talks, and maybe you feel the same way about me, Dilly. Maybe you do. I really just want to smack him.
I'm not gonna lie. As you talk during your matches, or during whenever you decide to address the CHWA Nation, it definitely is like just want to reach behind the camera and slap that face of yours. But there's a difference between wanting to slap your face and slap PT Beckham's face. There is a very big difference for me between you two.
I'll accept that. Accept that.
And this match it started off very disrespectful in the sense of The match was getting ready to get underway, and PT Beckham decided to step out and basically tell Tommy Davis that he did not care one bit about this match. And just continued to rattle off until he got in. And then Tommy basically woke him up and was like, hey, listen, this is a match and you're not going to win this easy.
Tommy Davis is a hell of a worker. PT Beckham is too, but I can only speak so kindly for so long.
Yeah. So let's go through towards the let's go through a little bit of the match, and we'll trying to get to the end, since I can feel the niceness towards half of this, or the niceness towards this match is slipping away from you. So for the most part, this match was very overall good. PT Beckham, like you said, a hell of a worker. Tommy Davis, a hell of a worker. Both these men are talented in their craft. But there's a few things that happened in this match that we honestly have to mention. Like, at one point, if I'm not mistaken, I saw PT Beckham hit Tommy Davis with a Sister Abigail. And if I'm not mistaken, that's Damian Blade's finisher. Is it not?
I believe it is. His, I'm not one to say that I watch Damian Blade matches. However, I've seen a couple in my time. And that is indeed his finisher. And I'm surprised that PT Beckham, of all people, the arrogant person who I wouldn't think had the balls to team up with anybody. Is that something that... What's going on there?
See, I don't know. PT, he's very reluctant to tag with anyone, and that says a lot, considering he is a tag team champion at another promotion. But
that is true.
But I don't think this is a partnership. I really don't. I think PT's looking to maybe take on Damian Blade for one of Damian Blade's belts, and I think it was a shot at Damian Blade.
If it was, that'd be a very ballsy shot indeed.
Yeah. That's not a shot I'd be willing to take. Damian Blade is not one to mess around with.
No, Dilly, I've only been in the ring with Damian Blade once, and it was during the New Beginnings Rumble. Thankfully, worst I got was a foot on my throat. He is a danger.
He is. But, so this match continued on because, let's be honest here, PT Beckham, while he hit the Sister Abigail, he did not hit it correctly. Tommy Davis kicked out of it.
He's not the master of craft. And definitely, it showed.
It did.
But so sadly, showing that Tommy Davis, he threw just about everything at PT Beckham. But there was one simple thing that made him lose. PT Beckham did the oldest trick in the book. And when I say that, it's not some simple roll-up. Yeah, he did roll him up. But PT Beckham grabbed the tights. Now,
he did.
Don't get me wrong, Dilly. I am a very despicable person. I'll rake somebody's eyes. I'll break their fingers. I'll even take a piece of paper and put it in between their fingers just to give them a paper cut. But I don't think I could ever bring myself to pull someone's tights.
Yeah, that's a very dirty, despicable move, and that also speaks a lot to PT Beckham's character. Um, Only because before this roll up and grabbing the tights, PT Beckham hit Tommy Davis with the pedigree, his own finisher, and Tommy kicked out of that. And so that speaks towards Tommy, the fact that he can withstand, PT Beckham's, you know, pedigree. I think he calls it the Dreamer. I can't remember if he's
I
changed the
believe.
name of it.
I believe so, but that just shows you how resilient both of these men are. Tommy Davis kicking out of the pedigree, the Dreamer, and PT Beckham kicking out of that supercharged clothesline.
I almost think Tommy Davis took it. The supercharged clothesline. I think he did an over supercharged clothesline, because normally whenever Tommy hits that clothesline, he goes from one side of the ropes to the opposite side before he hits you. Tommy jumped those ropes 3 times before he finally hit PT Beckham.
And don't get me wrong, I'm surprised about the result, not because PT Beckham isn't a hell of a worker. I'm just surprised because this is Tommy Davis. This is a man that's, like I've said, dropped me on my neck more times than I can count. And if somebody is able to beat me, I'm sorry. I hold myself at a higher standard. PT Beckham realistically had no right to beat Tommy Davis, but he did what he had to win. He spoiled everyone's day by giving Tommy Davis the worst send-off he could.
That's very true. For your last match in CHWA, history, and you go out with a loss, and a cheap, dirty loss at that.
Of course. And like I said, this is coming from somebody that collapsed a lung. There's things that you don't mess with, and yes, injuries technically should be one of them. But when you're on a send-off, try and keep it respectful at least.
Well, that's something that you don't generally see with PT Beckham. His ending reign before PT Beckham rode off into the night was against Damian Blackwell, and that man rubbed Damian's father's ashes all over the mat, took his father's wheelchair and rolled it around the arena. PT Beckham has never been one to be respectful in his wins or his losses. But that's just something that I guess we'll have to live with. PT Beckham takes the win over Tommy Davis, wins the unofficial title of Best in the Midwest. Tommy Davis rides off into the sunset for better opportunities. And I don't know so much about you, Angelo, but I would like to thank Tommy Davis for the year that he wrestled with us. It was an amazing year, and his presence will be missed in this locker room.
This is coming from me, so you at least know it's worth something. I wrestled him 3 times, once in a tag team ladder match, and 4 times tag team ladder match, twice in singles competition, and once in a triple threat up against Bo Dickerson and Tommy Davis himself. I am 0-4 in total against this man, and each time I can at least say I come off with a little bit more. I thank him for everything that he has done for this company, because let's face it, he's only elevating it for me.
I might take this time just to take a small little break, talk about our Patreon. Patreon.com/CHWA, the 4 live tier. Check it out. That is where the pay-per-views go. Everything that we're talking about right now in this little podcast, or whatever it's going to be, recap, go check it out at the Patreon. You're not going to want to miss it because that's the only place you're going to see the pay-per-views unless you are in the building. Um, but yeah, go ahead and check out our Patreon, patreon.com/CHWA. Thank you all for subscribing. Make sure to hit the like button, comment, subscribe, do all the wonderful stuff on YouTube, and follow us wherever you can, Facebook, Instagram. Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. But yeah, let's get back to it. So, after that crazy match between PT Beckham and Tommy Davis, we had one of your boys. We had the CHWA United States Championship up for grabs. And we had a match between your boy Harlock Cross and Logan Simmons.
You cannot tell me, Dilly, that a man of Harlock Cross's size cannot step through anybody in his path. Logan Simmons is no exception.
Logan was definitely going up against a very formidable. So,
Formidable?
Yes, you already know that ring announcer Dilly sucks at talking. We already are well aware of this, and so is our audience.
It's entertaining to me, to at least say the least.
Yeah. No, you're a wordsmith, so I am not. But regardless, to go up against Harlock Cross, one of the original founding fathers, if I'm not mistaken.
A founding father of CHWA and a founding father of the new foundation.
That is two very, very high marks on someone's career. I will give him credit for that. But yes, we had Harlock Cross versus Logan Simmons in a surprisingly fast match, if I must say. I thought Logan was going to give Harlock more of a run for his money, but it seemed like something happened in the match that that Harlock just took full advantage of.
When you have somebody that's wrestled as long as Harlock, it at least shows that Logan, even though he is a talented wrestler, he knows what he's doing. He's wrestled multiple other companies, just as Harlock has himself.
Mm-hmm.
But Harlock is the bigger man. He has more experience. And when he sees a weakness, he will take it. And I'm not going to say that Logan didn't try his best, but I will say that Harlock just was the better man.
Yeah, that is the unfortunate part of this, because like we said, Harlock taking advantage of something that clearly happened to Logan, whether it be unintentional or intentional from Harlock's point, because someone that long in the business, you never know what they can pull out of their sleeves, and I cannot confirm whether or not Harlock may have caused that problem to begin with, but the point being, Harlock walking away with the W and taking out Logan Simmons and retaining his title as the CHWA United States Champion. Logan, very well, hard fought, but just unfortunately couldn't get it done.
Something seemed to have happened, and as you said, Logan is is a very good competitor. A good man, I should say, because, what kind of man is smart enough, or should I say dumb enough, to take on Harlock Cross?
Yeah, I understand that the way, I understand, going for your shot and being like, what, I could take this guy on, or this woman on, and take their belt from them. But Harlock is one of those people where you gotta really know that you're gonna win if you stand even a chance against Harlock.
Of course. And Logan tried his best, I will definitely say that. But at the end of the day, like I myself, the leader of the new foundation, predicted, there's nobody that's going to topple Harlock Cross.
Mm-hmm.
So all it took was Harlock Cross's chokeslam. And yes, Logan might have kicked out, but Dilly, you might not know what the submission was called, but all it took was Harlock to put on what we call the stretch muffler. And Logan tapped out way too quick.
He really did. I'm not gonna lie. You know what? I'll give Logan this credit. Fighting out and kicking out of Harlock's chokeslam. That is impressive in itself.
It is, because I could not imagine how it would feel to be picked up from that height and dropped on my back.
Yeah, every time I see Harlock pick someone up and do that choke slam, I immediately cringe because I can't imagine how that feels, and I at least know what it feels like to get an elbow from Harlock. I forget.
Oh, of course.
I sometimes forget that he attacked me, so I can't imagine the choke slam or the muffler stretch is what you called it.
Stretch muffler.
Stretch muffler.
Close enough.
Close enough. But that's that's something that we don't normally see from Harlock. He's normally not a technical guy. He's more of a brute and is going to beat you down. This is a side of Harlock that we just haven't seen yet.
Well, I would like to, at least personally, I would like to see that move more often. He does it well.
I agree. I will give him that credit. But so let's move on from that match to your match, Angelo. You and Drew Carter took on Buff and the Brave.
Dilly, I'm going to try and give you my utmost honesty here. I really don't want to talk about this one.
You know, if you don't want to talk about it, I'll talk a little bit about it. Just little small things, but we'll save you the embarrassment of spoilers losing to Buff and Brave. But
See, now I feel like you're just trying to get on my bad side. I know we already don't like one another, but we are tolerating one another. But that's just cruel.
It is a low blow, and that I apologize for the low blow, Angelo. But these two girls, they're not just some girls. They're really not. Both of these women are former CHWA Women's Division champions. Maddie is currently the XBW Women's Champion.
If I remember
this is
correctly,
a tough call.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, Ashlyn Alexander has a title shot at the PWE Women's Championship as well. So these two women are
I think
talented.
It's the WPW Women's Champ. I believe so.
Well,
I know
either way,
she has got a shot at a women's division title
of
coming
course.
up very soon.
So either way, I can definitely say these two women are incredibly talented. They are nothing that should be played with. However, I have been in the ring with Ashlyn Alexander and I have beaten her. Yes, it was with some help. However, everybody needs some help every so little often. You can't deny that.
I cannot.
Now, in a tag team match without my normal tag team partner, the Mizoku, formerly known as Esau Crane. What he's doing? We'll get to that. Drew Carter and I we are almost the same in the sense. He was the youngest, or formerly youngest, CHWA heavyweight champion, one of the quickest rising stars, and here I am doing the exact same thing. We are very talented, so I believed we could beat the Buff and the Brave. Now, yes, this was not my choice by Vicious Victoria.
Yeah, Vicious Victoria kind of put you guys against Buff and Brave kind of last second last week whenever they decided to come out and save the Warriors, Jeremy Lightfoot and Jake Prater, from your own men, Sid and Dean. So yeah, she kind of gave you a little bit of a short end of the stick here.
Just a little bit. But, me being me, I truthfully believe that it wouldn't be too much of a challenge to beat them. Well, sad to say for me at least, I'm sure all of these fans enjoyed whatever the hell that they were thinking, whatever you thought you were thinking, because... Calm down. Anyway, sadly, the night did not go how I wanted.
It really did not. That is something that I was a little surprised at, because we'll touch on it in just a second, but to your credit and to your partner Drew Carter's credit, Drew is up against the heavyweight champion in May. He won his shot back in January by tossing out Tommy Davis in the Royal Rumble. So your partner, no slouch in the wrestling ring. No slouch in the wrestling ring. I'll give you that credit. But it seemed like your partner left you and kind of left you open with your back open to Ashlyn in this case, which not a great time for you.
For the new foundation to be a brotherhood, we are brothers in arms. I never thought the person that I approached, being Drew Carter all those months ago, would do something like that to me. But this is only a step, Dilly. I promise you that. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with us, and nothing will be wrong. Because sure, I have had the chance to talk to Drew Carter, and yes, it's been days. However, I will get a hold of him, and we will talk. Because we are still adults at the end of the day. And yes, I may have went a little overboard when I tagged myself in. But Drew Carter didn't have the right to jump down and leave me there.
Well, there's something that, I'll maybe give you a little bit of hope there, Angelo. I obviously, we talked about it earlier. I'm the cameraman, so I can hear, the conversation or, that things are going on. And to me, it didn't sound like Drew Carter was leaving you in a hateful way. It sounded like Drew Carter was leaving you because he was like, you know what? We're winning this match. I got full faith in my man. You can handle these two by yourself because that's how confident I am in my guy, Angelo Grimsley. That's what it sounded like to me.
I'm going to be honest with you again, Dilly. I hope to God you're correct. Because I don't want to think ill will of my own brothers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can understand that, but I think I can reassure you that the tone of Drew Carter's voice was not spiteful. It sounded very, very hopeful and like, confident. And like, my boy's got this. I'm gonna go ahead and let him have it. Unfortunately, you happen to be turned around, and that's when Ashlyn Alexander took full advantage of it, and managed to. I can't. I don't even know what they did, because I think I was turned around when they fully hit you, because this was the end of the match. Oh, okay.
I believe, I don't know the technical name of this move, but for the sake of it, I'm just going to call it the wheelbarrow splash. And trust me, that really hurt to take. My abdomen still hurts.
Yeah, I can imagine, because looking back at it, because we have the footage, and looking back at it, that that is a very interesting tag team move, considering that there for a minute, while Ashlyn Alexander was feuding with Maddie Exodus, Ashlyn Alexander has hit Maddie Exodus with that particular move several times in their match history. And to then turn something that was something to turn a move into something that goes from hurting someone to being your finisher. That's some ingenuity right there.
It's impressive and it's smart. And I will not deny that these two women are smart.
They very much are. But let's move on and save you any more from having to talk about this particular match. Let's move on to the next one. Mizoku versus the Parasite. This was a very interesting match, to say the least.
I really don't know what to comment on this in reality, because Drew Carter not too long ago beat the Parasite with, what was it? It was a backbreaker? No. Well, anyway, Drew Carter recently beat Parasite, and I know Mizoku is a very talented wrestler. However, my concern with this is that these two men, I don't know what's going on in Mizoku's head. I really don't know. I don't know what made him start wanting to go by Mizoku, or why these two are just so obsessed with one another recently.
Yeah, that is something that I've noticed with Mizoku, formerly Esau Crane. The obsession with the Parasite has gotten stronger a lot as of recently, and so much so that these two wrestlers have become very similar in their actions and how they move around the ring, and just how they handle things. It's very outer worldly, to be frank, honestly.
Precisely. And you want to know what? I'm not going to say I'm for it. Because as a person who thrives off hurting others and myself, something as supernatural, I guess this would be considered that. It's rather concerning to me. Because these two people, they're strangely in sync. And I don't know how to feel about it.
Yeah, this was a very, very methodic match because um, there wasn't a whole lot that happened in this match that normally happens when these two particularly wrestle other people. Mizoku is known for doing uh, backflips off the top rope, diving out of the ring, uh, the parasite biting and almost infecting. This match had none of that, and it's almost like these two danced through this entire match more so than wrestled each other.
It was an entertaining show. I'll definitely put them on, or say that. Because these two men, while I don't feel like they gave it their all, this was more of testing the waters.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that these two men gave every single bit. Because, Dilly, this match ended in a double countout, correct?
Yes, it ended very eerie because the match did end in a double countout, but as soon as the count was over, the lights turned off, and when they came back on, both of the wrestlers were gone. Nowhere to be seen. And that is very, I almost want to say, problematic.
I would like to know how these two beings gain the power to control lights and disappear at will. Where can I get this ability?
It sounds like you might need to. I have no idea where you get it. I would say ask Mizoku Esau, because he somehow managed to tap into something, because he has evolved and changed very drastically in a very short amount of time. And that generally is not good.
Generally. But as long as he stays on the path of the new foundation, everything should be fine.
As long as you have faith. Let's move on to our next match. Our next match, Damian Blade the Butcher versus Jeremy Lightfoot. Now,
And isn't this the co-main event?
this is the co-main event.
All right.
Yeah, we're just about done with this show. But this match was actually a little problem. We had a problem to where last week, Vicious Victoria made mention that Jake Prater was currently busy, so he couldn't face the new foundation, Sid and Dean, like that they wanted. Because, and I found this out later through management, Vicious Victoria had scheduled Jake Prater to wrestle Damian Blade. And unfortunately, Jake Prater was not able to make it to this particular show due to some injuries that resulted in his match. But
let's not talk about this because I'm going to plead the fifth again, Dilly.
yeah, we all know what that means, Angelo. But the match was basically scrapped, and Damian Blade decided to come out and issue an open challenge for his Kill Floor belt. It's his own belt, not another company's belt. It is his own belt, and that is very interesting. That a wrestler has their own belt that they take and put on the line for basically anyone whenever they choose.
It is very interesting, especially someone like Damian Blade. He's big. He is a very big man. Has a very nice accent too.
He does.
However, when you're putting on something like your own championship, that's prestigious. It's prestigious in its own way. And for Jeremy Lightfoot to answer this call, that's a war just waiting to happen.
It really is, considering that if I remember the history correct, Jeremy Lightfoot is Damian Blade's original trainer.
I didn't know that, but now I'm more intrigued.
Yeah, that's something that back at a CHWA Christmas was discussed. Was Damian Blade's original trainer is Jeremy Lightfoot. So Jeremy is the original master to Damian Blade's student. And so this match, even back then at Christmas time, is just mind-boggling, because these two are just two massive icons in this area, and to have them wrestling each other is just I can't. I'm speechless.
Very much so, and to have Austin Lightfoot, Jeremy's own son, in his corner once again. Now, we haven't seen him in a couple months, but it's impressive. I'm glad to see him back.
Mm-hmm.
This is coming from somebody that, again, does not really enjoy people.
It was very nice to have Austin standing by his father's side during this match. And
you want to know what? My apologies to cut you off, not really. But my apologies. To know that Damian Blade cut Jeremy Lightfoot open so early in the match to make him bleed like a stuffed pig, pun intended there, I'm impressed. Because I didn't know. I know Jeremy Lightfoot, a man of his size, probably has a lot of blood in him. But to make him bleed that much, that quickly, that's impressive.
Yes, the Butcher opened up Jeremy very quickly. And the fact that Jeremy was just bleeding so intensely so early on in this match, I can remember there's a camera angle where Jeremy walks up to the camera and yells at me, and you can see blood just flowing down his face and dripping from his nose. This match was completely off the charts, because it was supposed to be just a regular singles match, but when Blade issued an open challenge for his belt, he made it a no-holds-bar match. And that just opens up the world of possibilities for wrestlers whenever they go to face their opponents. Weapons are now involved. There's no countouts. There's no DQ. It's an insane style of match.
Of course, and I will be the first to admit this. Dilly, you may not know this about me, but I myself, I love the hardcore arts. I love barbed wire, glass, tacks. I love it all, because what more pain could you put somebody through than with these objects? But It seems like Damian Blade did this all with just a single tool. And it was impressive because this is a war. This is a brawl.
Yeah, how the way if I'm not mistaken, the way that he opened up Jeremy was with I think it's Bertha, his barbed wire wrapped staff, best I can call it, Billy Club. It's
He gave it a name?
yes, his staff's name, if I'm not mistaken, is no, it's not Bertha. It's Bernice. Bernice is his club's name. That is what it is.
He seems like a man of style. I like it.
Well, to his credit, this is something that I don't think I quite picked up on until later. But Damian Blade wrestled the entire match in a kilt.
You know, now that I'm looking back on it myself, I didn't actually pick that out.
I didn't pick that out either. I just realized that. He's in a kilt the entire match. Jeremy never gave him a chance. They started the match almost immediately.
Of course, but let's talk about the more surprising fact. What is PT Beckham doing out there?
You know,
what business does he have?
You know, that's something very curious because PT Beckham comes out to almost distract Lightfoot, and then as Lightfoot turns around in almost a mirror from earlier, Damian Blade hits Jeremy Lightfoot with the pedigree, the Dreamer, PT Beckham's finisher, and wins.
I'm very speechless about that fact. Because what's going on? And this is coming from a mastermind of this industry, Dilly. You know me. Or well, you know what little that I let you guys know. What are these two planning?
See, that's something that I just don't know. It seems very ominous that PT Beckham and Damian Blade would both hit each other's finishers. But there's also a part of me that knows that sometimes in the wrestling industry, when someone hits your finisher and they allow, because let's be honest, when you do things improperly because you don't know how to do them, you screw up somebody else's finish. And if you don't do it correctly, people kick out of it because they don't.
Of course.
And
it would be like, and I'm going to use this as an example. So Chris Exodus, crucify me if you will, screw you. It would be like if I was to hit the Starlight Kick on L-Ride. I'm going to use L-Ride as this example. If I was to hit the Starlight Kick on L-Ride, I guarantee you he would kick out because, one, I don't know what I'm doing with the Starlight Kick. Mm-hmm. It would be the exact same thing if Chris Exodus was to hit the Acid Rainmaker, my own finisher, Jimmy Havoc's own finisher, on somebody like the Mizoku. Mizoku would probably kick out of that.
Exactly. And I think maybe Damian Blade, whenever he hit PT Beckham's finisher, the pedigree, the Dreamer, notice Jeremy did not kick out of it. Maybe that was you know what? If you're going to hit somebody else's finisher, do it right, and I'm going to show you how to do it right. Maybe that was Damian Blade taking a shot back at PT Beckham.
I like the way you think, Dilly, because this seems to be a little bit outside of the box. And truthfully, if this does lead to a PT Beckham versus the Butcher match, I'd give my hard-earned cash to watch that.
That is very true. That is a match that I don't think we've seen yet. No, we haven't seen since School of Hard Knocks. That's back in August. of last year, we haven't seen PT Beckham versus Damian Blade in a minute.
I'm gonna say, what was I doing on that date? Because I promise you, I don't remember this for some reason.
That is, I don't know what, I don't quite remember that. But then again, my memory is absolute garbage.
Of course it is, Dilly. What do? You ring announce, you make the music, you're the cameraman. I heard you even edit shows. I'm surprised you even get time to sleep.
Sleep is a very, very lacking of commodity in my world.
But anyway, I think we've rambled on enough about ourselves and about this dream match twice removed.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe twice removed. Let's go to our main event, if you would.
Yes. Let's talk about the main event. Our main event was Sean Valiant versus Damian Blackwell for the CHWA Heavyweight Championship. Now, the thing that, and I did it at the show, case in point of my terrible memory, I forgot to announce that at the end of the show we would be unveiling a new belt. And as par for the course, this time we are going to talk about this particular match, but it started off with me announcing that at the end of the match, depending on if Damian Blackwell retained his belt or if Sean Valiant happened to magically figure out a way to win against Damian Blackwell, someone was going to be walking away with a brand new CHWA Heavyweight Champion belt. And this match was this was this match. I don't know what exactly to call this match because the match itself was great, but there was so much involvement from other parties that I just cannot figure out the correct words to put to this match.
All I can really add is when you have, again, my apologies for repeating myself, somebody the size of Damian Blackwell. Now keep in mind, Dilly, again, you recorded this, you announced this match. I have fought Damian Blackwell one-on-one. I have come close to beating him, at least in my eyes. He might have been fooling me. This man is a force to be reckoned with. I cannot stress that enough. Damian Blackwell is a monster among men, but he still holds values among gods. He has fought and won almost every single thing in this company, and I'm not talking titles, I'm talking about respect and love, just because he is that talented, and while he has the legacy behind him as well. And to think Sean Valiant, who we've all said, who's only been here for a cup of coffee, who would think that Sean Valiant would actually be put in this position to get this match?
Yeah, how Sean managed to win this match is beyond me. I know he won it at the beginning. Yes, I think he won it at the beginning of the month. I think in a battle royal, if I'm not mistaken. I believe
it was a championship scramble.
That's right. It was a scramble.
Or a scramble match.
It was a scramble match. Yes. And he managed to pick up a win to face Damian Blackwell. I mean, that's something that if I were Sean, winning that match would not be the thing I wanted to do, even if I wanted a shot at greatness. Because facing Damian, like you said, and I've said it myself, Damian is a monster. And just from how he enters the ring, he has such a presence about him. And I don't know if you've ever picked it up, but I pick it up almost every time I watch that kid get in the ring. And I can say kid because he's only 18. But every time that kid gets in the ring, he does this menacing move that nobody else does that sets him apart. Damien steps over all 3 ropes. He doesn't climb through the second one or the in between the top and the middle. He steps over all 3 and does it with ease every single time. And so that kind of psychological warfare at the start, before the match even begins, sets its toll on damn near everyone they wrestle.
And I can truthfully say, again, as a person who's wrestled Damien, looking back on this match, I'm honestly surprised because, again, Damien is a big man. You would think you would go into the match with a game plan. It doesn't seem like, what is Sean's nickname? The unsociable one? Something along that line?
The antisocial one.
The antisocial one. You would think that the antisocial one would come up with, like, a good game plan. But it seems like he's kind of winging it, and it's... I'm not going to say it's working, because when you have a man of Damien's size, I think you might want to play an A, B, C, Andy.
Yeah, you might need a whole alphabet of plans to face Damien.
Yeah.
And to your point, I agree. It almost seemed like Sean was winging this match, and I don't know if you would consider it working for his advantage, but at the same time, it's almost like he got lucky this whole match.
I don't think I would call it luck, but more or less he was waiting for openings. Because yes, he might not be as skilled as some in this locker room, but again, as you pointed out, Damien is only 18. And yes, Valiant is not, I think he's not much older than Damien. So it's impressive to see 2 people as young as they are in the main event for the heavyweight title.
You know that is a very fair point. I forgot. Sean Valiant is 17. He's actually younger than Damien. He's freshly 17. Really? He is freshly 17.
I thought he was at least 18.
No, he's 17. If I remember correctly, he actually turned 17 last month on the day he faced Jake Prater.
You know, that does kind of make me sad because as a 23-year-old wrestler, I feel kind of old now. And I do understand, ring announcer Dilly, you are older than me, but
by
still.
A few years, yes. But let's keep going with this match. You know, Sean, I will give Sean credit because, like you said, wrestling someone like Damien who has, for someone so young, the lineage, the experience, like this is something that, you know, takes a lot of guts and a lot of talent. And the fact that he lasted this long against Damien speaks for itself.
Of course. But I guess to fast forward a little bit, because of course, after a little bit, Valiant does get control. But then my brother, Drew Carter, after walking out on me, I guess he had some plan in his own head. Because taking out Halo Blackwell, or attempting to, and then actually taking out Halo, I'm curious to know what was going through his head in that moment.
That I agree with you, because taking on Halo, that has not ended well for anyone. Aleister Crow did it, and that ended with Damien dominating Aleister in amazing fashion. But trying to take Halo out of the equation is just not a smart move for anyone whenever you're going against Damien. That's something
And
you just
then,
cannot do.
of course, and then to think that Drew Carter, after taking out Halo and the ref and hitting Damian Blackwell with not one but two bullhammer elbows, and then just starts waylaying on Damian with these chairs. I mean, I get it. From Drew Carter's perspective, as the New Beginnings champion, would you rather take on Damian Blackwell or Sean Valiant at Mayday?
Yeah, no, this is a very smart and, methodical move on Drew Carter's part, taking out Damien to give him a shot against Sean Valiant is the way better option for CHWA Mayday, for the May pay-per-view. I 100% understand this move. Taking out Damien is the best option for him. And, he hits Damien with a couple chair shots, and then he looks like he's about to take out Sean Valiant, but then he decides to basically lay down the chair and give it to Sean and walk out. And
now,
Sean,
what I'm more concerned about, Dilly, is that after giving Damian Blackwell a concerto, one of the most deadly attacks that you can do on somebody, Sean Valiant actually hitting that, I'm surprised he actually went through with it. And then I'm more surprised that Damian Blackwell lost.
Yeah, that's something that, a lot of people don't really realize what this match is. The concerto, you are absolutely right, one of the most deadliest moves in all of wrestling. And the fact that Sean Valiant had to stoop to that level to take out Damien, that shows so much, that shows desperation from Sean, but that also shows how resilient Damian Blackwell is, because a lot of people may forget Damien wrestled an entire hour against PT Beckham, where PT cheated and did everything he could to take out Damien. And still, Damien walked out with the W. And so the fact that Sean stooped to something so reckless, I understand why he had to do it, because that's the only way you can take out somebody like Damian Blackwell.
And I can say I've never had a problem with Sean Valiant, so I congratulate him on his win. But now he has to face my brother at Mayday. I hope he knows what he's getting himself into.
Well, see, that's the thing, is at this point at the match, you are absolutely right. Drew Carter has secured almost entirely a victory at Mayday. He is going to be facing Sean Valiant for the heavyweight title. And I can't imagine the joy and glee he must have felt knowing that he was going to face Sean. But there was something that happened while Sean was celebrating that I don't know if Drew Carter seen. And that's somebody came out and was very surprised and not very happy that Damien had lost.
Generally I'm all for a little bit of comedy in my life, because obviously I wrestled SWO, for Christ's sake. But for the disrespect of Chaos Jester to use his kid to distract Sean Valiant just to hit him in the head with the briefcase, that is a low blow. Even though Valiant just basically crushed Damian Blackwell's skull.
Yeah. And, that is something that, Chaos brought up back whenever he won the briefcase last year. He made sure to tell Damian that he would never use it against him and that he would only use it whenever he felt it was necessary. And I find it very interesting that Chaos chose that moment. I understand not wanting Valiant to have the belt, but why choose that moment? Why not choose later?
Well, perhaps it's because of the new title that they were unveiling. Maybe he didn't want Sean to touch it at all.
I mean, that's very fair. Sean grabbed a hold of the old belt. He was given the old belt, and before the ceremony to be given the new belt could even take place, Chaos Jester came out and said, "No, you're not getting any further with this time, and I'm cashing in right now." And then has his own son go and take the belt, the new belt, to give to him.
You know what? I'm not going to be shy about this. That new heavyweight title, that is a very, very beautiful title. Now, am I happy it's on Chaos Jester? No. But again, like I stated with Sean Valiant, I really hope Chaos knows what he's getting into.
See, that's the interesting thing is now Chaos decided to cash in on Sean Valiant and basically end his reign, almost in a mirror way of how Damian lost it before we shut our doors due to COVID. But I don't know if Chaos readily thought that he's going to have to face Carter at Mayday. That's a tough opponent. And that's saying something for me. I enjoy Chaos very much so, and as much as we've had our disagreements, and no disrespect, it's like I don't necessarily like Carter so much, but I'll give him credit. Carter's a tough opponent, and the fact that Chaos decided to willingly let take Sean on and challenge Carter for May, and that's if Chaos keeps the belt. That's just not a smart idea.
Well, as you said, of course, there was one more pay-per-view to go. Hopefully, it stays on Chaos, because I'm going to be a little selfish here. As my first match in CHWA being Chaos Jester and losing to him multiple times, I really want to see his ass get kicked.
I definitely can see why you would want that.
However, I'm not very surprised about how Chaos Jester cashed in on Sean. Because I guess if I was in his shoes, I think I would too. Because he just went to war with Damian Blackwell, was that probably the easiest pickings he was going to get.
Yeah, that probably was the best option for him.
But I think that was our entire show.
I believe so. Chaos walked out with the new heavyweight championship, and we move on to the month of April. Where at the end of the month, I believe we are hosting a super show where it is going to be a regular show that is a pay-per-view quality. I'm not entirely for sure. I think that's what's going on. It still may be a pay-per-view. But nonetheless, we are moving into that month, and who knows what's going to happen. We have Sophia Sombra, our new CHWA Women's Division champion. Harlock retains his United States title, and the Bayou Boys retain their tag team titles. But, there's no telling what can happen this month, especially with it being our 1-year anniversary of reopening the doors. A lot of wrestlers' 1-year anniversary for debuts, including you. Um,
Sadly, Tommy Davis never got to that point.
no, unfortunately, he did not. His contract came due, and he did not get to re-sign in time, or well, I guess chose not to re-sign, but that's okay. We wish him best in his endeavors. But I don't know, Angelo, what would you like to see come out of this next month?
Honestly, I think you know my answer. I would like the prosperity of my own faction. I would also like to, if Drew, you watch any of this, no ill will on me, because I understand everyone makes mistakes. I am not a perfect being. But for Chaos, I wish you well. I hope your title reign at least lasts until May. And if it doesn't, as long as it's not Damian Blackwell, I think we're all right.
That is something to be aware of. Is Damien? Damien is in line for a rematch clause for losing his belt. That is something not a lot of people readily think about. Is whenever you lose it, when you lose the title, you get the opportunity to cash in a rematch.
However, does that logic apply when his rematch clause would be against Sean Valiant, not Chaos Jester?
That is something very that is something that might be addressed. Is does Damien have a rightful claim to a rematch, or does Sean have the claim for the rematch against Chaos? I guess that's something
I would like to see.
I think that's something that might come up. I don't want to put any money on it, but I'd be willing to bet somebody cashes in on their rematch clause.
It wouldn't surprise me, and I'd like to see it, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it would be a very interesting match, whether it's Damien and Sean again, or Sean and Chaos, or Damien and Chaos. I don't. That's there. There's a world of possibilities there.
Of course.
I think. I think. I think for me personally, I would love to see what is really going on with this PT Beckham and Damian Blade situation.
I could see that. It is very intriguing, but I guess something to add on is I would like to see a little bit more of Parasite and Mizoku. They're an interesting pair.
It is a very interesting pair.
Especially knowing that Esau, the Mizoku, is my tag team partner. I understand we haven't been doing very much tag team activities, but he has business. I'm gonna let him sort it.
Well, I mean, I guess it's now up to the fans. Fans, tell us what you would like to see going into April. Drop comments down. I know I would personally love to hear what you guys would like to see. You guys are the ones who support us and keep us keep the lights on. So, yeah, let us know what you would like to see in April. Do you want to see Parasite and Mizoku? What is going on there? Do you want to see any particular people face off? Like, what are you seeing that maybe we're not catching? Let us know. Don't forget to leave a like or follow us on all of our social medias: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I think those are the three that we have right now. But yeah, any last words, Angelo Grimsley?
I guess only one. Well, three technically. After I say thank you for having me on this little show, whatever you call it. I know this is like the first little installment, but whatever you call it, thank you for having me on here. However, my 3 words is screw you, Dilly.
Yeah, not surprised there on that one. But All right, that is going to be it for our little recap show. Haven't really gotten a name for it, but we'll hammer out some ideas for it. But that is the end of it. We want to thank you guys for watching and subscribing and listening and all that fun stuff. Again, be sure to go to patreon.com/CHWA to subscribe to the For Life tier. That is where all the pay-per-views and everything go. But yeah, thank you so much again, and we will see you all next Thursday. Bye, guys.